1, 2, 3. 1. 1, 2, 3. 2. 1, 2, 3. 3. This is what you asked for. 1, 2, 3. 5. 1, 2, 3. 6. Now, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this mindless drivel because I consider it exactly that. And I'm going to explain to you why I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, why you shouldn't spend a lot of time on it, and why the international working class of tenants, students, and workers is definitely not going to spend a lot of time on it. You dig? Now, life on the left as an international socialist, it's all about keeping your eye on the ball. Imagine you were a professional at this. Imagine this was your job. What would you be focused on, ladies and gentlemen? It's May 19th, 2023. Would you be focused on the 2024 primaries? There are elections all over the world right now, by the way. Not just the primaries in the United States, which were a few days ago. If you were a professional, if you were serious, if you weren't just doing this for money, if you wanted to win, what would you be talking about? Now, I know what I would be talking about. I know what most of you would be talking about. But since a lot of folks who are going to see this are Jimmy Dore fans, part of the pseudo left, I'll tell you what you should be talking about. Student unions, tenant unions, and independent labor unions internationally. Why do I say independent labor unions? It goes without saying with student unions, right? There shouldn't be a bureaucracy there. There's a problem with them turning into clubs and things. I talk about that. Tenant unions, it should go without saying, right? There shouldn't be a huge bureaucracy. Okay. Problem with traditional trade unions is they've become bureaucratized and attached to things like the Democratic Party or the Liberal Democratic Party or the Labour Party in the UK or the Labour Party in Australia. Okay? And they become a function of management, and management is simply a function of ownership, despite what they say. Okay? Management works for the executive, which works for ownership. Call it like it is. Most of the executives are part owners. That's why we say independent labor unions. And it must be international. Trotskyists call them rank and file committees. Some other socialists call them like rank and file councils, worker syndicates, whatever you want to call it. It's the same deal. A wildcat union where it's localized. They're united internationally, but the citizens can be localized, regionalized as necessary, right? There's not a bureaucracy there that just exists to protect a bureaucracy. And I'm going to get to this nonsense. But what I'm talking about right now is way fucking more important. Way more important. Because this is the only way we win. By appealing to the deepest layers and broadest sections of humanity, of mankind. The largest masses of mankind. And it's those three groups. Students, tenants, and workers. Now, what are we asking for? Is it just for fun? Is it just to say, oh, we got it? No, it should be obvious. We want higher wages, we want lower rent, and we want lower or no tuition, right? All right, and we'll get to them taking control of institutions. But obviously, you want better renter benefits, better student benefits, and better worker benefits. You want improved working conditions, improved living conditions, and improved learning conditions. And you can enumerate all of those things. List them. That's what that means. That's what enumerate means. Codify them. And how do we do that? We take those unions internationally, student, tenant, and labor unions internationally, and they form like Voltron. They form like Megazord, whatever you want to call it. And they take over institutions wherever they are. And it's a daily activity. It's not waiting until 2024, Jimmy Dumbledore. What the hell's the matter with you? You're not a professional. You're a beginner at this. As long as you've been doing it, you're still a beginner in mentality. Because basically, you're really just doing it for money. We get that. Okay? This is a public service announcement, by the way. You don't got to pay me anything. That's all this is right here, is a public service announcement. No money needed. Not a rally, of course. Not an online rally. Now, Furthermore, the working class should be armed, right? Arm, train, educate, and organize. We need friendlies across borders. The same way you have friendlies across borders with the student unions, tenant unions, and worker and labor unions is the same way you have friendlies across borders that are armed, trained, and organized. You dig? Okay. It's the same thing governments do with each other. It's the same thing oligarchies do with each other. Plutocrats, conglomerates, and corporations, and mega millionaires. You get the freaking picture. This is way higher level stuff than this drivel. But I'm going to go over it. Oh, I'm going to go over it. It's like pulling teeth. It's like herding cats, really, actually. Dealing with American progressives. Every country has a national progressive movement, so get used to it. Get ready to deal with it. And then the far more reactionary pseudo-left of which Jimmy Dore is part of. All right. Although, I mean, isn't his Rubin Pool maneuver complete? They've like become totally on the right. Now, Jimmy Dore comes out with a frothing at the mouth 36-minute video to go over this, by the way. Boy, what a waste of time you'll never get back. It says, ignorant and arrogant. Crystal Ball's garbage RFK Jr. smear job called out by her own viewers. Was it really? Or was it called out by your viewers? Because you directed them there. Come on, let's keep it real. 353,000 views. Imagine how many man hours were wasted once again. How much time, money, and energy is wasted. I like to talk about this concept all the time because it's so important. It's so important, and I get it. We're burning the freaking midnight oil right now. How long have the troops been in Korea, Japan, and Germany? Something I always talk about, bringing them home. Okay? I always talk about bringing those troops home. How much time, energy, and money do you think has been wasted just since like the 80s? Well, I don't know. It's basically impossible for most people to tell. But think about how much time, money, and energy it would take to send a person there and back for you. For you, the worker. For you, a student. For you, a tenant. Now imagine having to send a Marine there. Or a sailor there. Or an airman there. And then think of all, there's what, about 100,000 there, right? Give or take. There's about 100,000 in Europe, American troops. There's about 100,000 in East Asia, American troops, right? So just imagine what we could have done. Tuition for all, Medicare for all, universal basic housing, UBI, a restoration of the social covenant, a revival morally, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, it's not going to happen as long as we are freaking all over the place with our military. But I'm going to keep going. 353,000 views. What did the next one get? Russians are wonderful. Bombshell. Zolenski's pro-Russian speech uncovered. Zelensky is one of these little monkeys who freaking, he speaks Russian. He was pretending to be at least to want to have a detente with them to follow the Minsk agreements when he ran for office. But of course that never happened. All right. And by the way, for all you other freaking monkeys that want to talk about, yeah, and I'm going to call you that because you're a bunch of rodents. Want to talk about me being pro-Putin? Are you out your rabbit-ass mind? I don't support the capitalist oligarchy in Ukraine. I don't support the capitalist oligarchy in Russia. Obviously, one's way further right-wing, the one in Ukraine. Way further right-wing. No comparison. But you tell me to support them, yet they've banned, you say, well, their Nazi party doesn't really have that much power. Well, it has enough power to ban communist parties, ban socialist parties, ban languages, ban religious sects, ban minorities from certain positions. Ask Hungarian, Romanian, and Slovenian Carpathians. Ask them, what's up? Yeah, you guys don't know anything about what's going on there, so don't ever come at me. And that's 78,000 views. Nothing compared to 353,000, right? 64,000 for the next one. I'm a big liar. This is about Adam Schiff and Donald Trump. The biggest Russiagate liar is still lying. And you can kind of see why I'm going over these, right? These are all capitalists, by the way. Keep your eye on the ball. I just went over all these things that international socialists want. That means keep your eye on the ball. RFK is a capitalist. Marianne Williamson is a capitalist. All these clowns are capitalists. Adam Schiff, Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Crystal Ball, RFK Jr., Jimmy Dore, Tulsi Gabbard. Who are we dealing with? A lot of these folks are high priests of propaganda, right? I'm back. Andrew Cuomo launches comeback as right-wing Democrat. Well, he was already one, so it's not much of a leap for him, right? With Rudy Giuliani in the thumbnail. Rudy Giuliani's got some more disgusting problems going on right now. Also a capitalist, right? It's all racist. Biden calling everything racist will win him re-election. Once again, Biden, a capitalist. Typical reactionary. Yeah, no class analysis. 29,000 views, 19,000 views for the last one. You guys can see why I'm pointing that out, right? I posted something yesterday. I said, Step 1, ceasefire to stop the killing. Step 2, negotiate return of land. Step 3, end hostilities. Diplomacy over death and destruction. And I'm telling you something right now. Nothing brings out pseudo-leftists and American progressives like suggesting there should be a ceasefire to stop the killing in Ukraine. Nothing gets them to freaking pile on you like that. If you're an international socialist, watch out. So I know I'm dealing with the Jimmy Dorner crowd, so I get it. I get it. Now, what brought a lot of this to my attention was Katie Halper pointing it out. That Katie Halper pointing out what they were actually upset over. And what they were actually upset over was, in essence, a softball interview. What did they say that burned Jimmy Dore's britches? Let's see. Oh, by the way, we're gonna talk about how RFK Jr. saw the interview. By the way, he had a big announcement today, I think. Yesterday. I'll read that to you just for, you know. Just for good measure, guys. Okay, here you go. We got Katie Halper responding. she's responding to Jimmy Dore's indignant attitude towards the interview. And she says, I just want to make sure I'm understanding this. Asking a candidate if they support Medicare for all is off limits. By the way, I think RFK Jr. supports single payer. Actual single payer, not like Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard was a multi-payer proponent, right? And it's funny, remember, Jimmy Dore supported the Democratic Party member, an open capitalist who was a multi-payer proponent over an independent who said he was a socialist, but is basically as spineless as a socialist could be. All right? That definitely does support at least single payer. That's interesting, bro. That's interesting. An interesting choice. Clown. And of course, she starts getting piled on here, and she said, people were like, well, you like Marianne Williamson. Of course you're going to say something like that. She goes, it's really not that deep. I'm friends with Marianne Williamson. I've never hidden that. I don't know RFK personally. There are issues I think she's better on, like Medicare for all. There are issues I think he's better on, like Ukraine. They should both be allowed to debate Biden. Absolutely. Oh, let's get it done, bro. Gotta have debates. Now, the Vanguard also had something to say about this, because here, by the way, here's the here's I'll give you the title actually of the Breaking Points interview. The Vanguard goes, I'm sorry, but a journalist pushing back forcefully on a vaccine causes autism conspiracy theorist who's running for president should not be controversial. Not at all. If there's even a hint of that nonsense from RFK Jr., hammer him on it. And by the way, Jimmy Dore, a huge proponent of social murder. And Jimmy Dore's he's frothing at the mouth over Russiagate, right? RFK Jr. was like a proponent of Russiagate, wasn't he? Okay, at least tepidly. All right, what did I say? The Russians are going to try to interfere in every election like we do. So is it their fault Obama won? Is it their fault Clinton? Are we going to blame them for every win? It's a hurdle you have to get over, if at all. It's like a pebble in the road on a freaking marathon. Get over it. Oh. Gotta look out for this big guy. Now, that's a fair response. That's absolutely a fair response. What do you think? We just shouldn't talk about that? Look at what we just went through, what we're going through right now with the pandemic, in the support of social murder by capitalists, especially like you, Jimmy Dore. Another that I'm not going to name because he's going through something right now that I don't think anyone should have to go through. But think about it for a second. What were the policies they supported? A homicidal policy of school university reopenings, the number one vector for the spread of the freaking virus. The murderous policy of herding people back to work so that they could be in the trenches to serve as the number two vector for the spread of the virus. Does that sound like a very socialist thing to do? Jimmy Dore did what the oligarchs wanted, the mega millionaires and the billion in the freaking in the conglomerations and the corporations everywhere. All these right-wing autocrats get back to work, get back to school, get back to paying your freaking rent. Blah, blah, freaking blah. Forget about the pandemic. We don't care if there's a mountain range of bodies. We don't care how many people are permanently disabled. They don't care. They don't care. I'm not done. I'm not done. How about a homicidal policy of, oh geez, here he is again. How about the homicidal policy of trying to deny the vaccine to the global south and applying it up here in the most sectionalist fashion possible? How could that possibly benefit the working class? How could that possibly benefit tenants and students? That's social murder, ladies and gentlemen. That's what that is. When the working class, when the ruling class purposely does something or withholds policies that will lead to the mass, premature, and brutal death of workers, tenants, and students. That's what it is. And I'm not done. Oh, no, 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 no. Nope, nope, nope. How about the murderous policy of embracing pseudoscience? How about that? Embracing asymptomatic people can't spread it. I'll get back to work. Yeah, that's why freaking Zolenski was gone for freaking 3 weeks, because you could just go back to work after 3 days, and asymptomatic people can't spread anything. That's why they got the freaking UV lighting and the filters everywhere and the ventilation, and all of them are freaking tested and vaccinated, and everyone's wearing even better masks. Yeah, because they have all the science on their side, and they know better. They just don't care for the rest of us. Now, let's see what RFK Jr. actually said about this, and I'm already spending too much time on this. RFK Jr. says, great interview with two very well-informed hosts, E. Sauger and Crystal Ball. Gee, sorry, Jimmy. I guess you can't hang on to this one forever. I see what's going on here. He rode Tulsi's freaking coattails after TYTs. Now he's on this. Okay, did Tucker Carlson's coattails for a while. I see the type of guy that Jimmy Dore is. All right, any capitalist that he can freaking hang on to, he's right there, buddy. Sorry, doesn't look like this one's going to work out for you, pal. Although, I guess with 1.2 million freaking subscribers on YouTube, you can manufacture some drama, can't you? The pseudo left really knows how to manufacture drama. So instead of focusing, once again, eye on the ball, instead of focusing on student unions, tenant unions, and independent labor unions internationally, arming, training, organizing, and educating the working class internationally, we're focused on this. I'm 19 minutes into this. Jimmy Dorner. Jimmy Distractor. I mean, what are we doing? Now, I told you I would read that announcement of his. Just a second. Oh, here it is. Since we're here. I am delighted to announce Dennis Kucinich as the manager of my presidential campaign, a former 8-term member of Congress. He has been both an icon of progressive politics and an iconoclastic, game-changing force within progressive politics. And he has been fairly progressive. There's no doubt about it. If you don't know who Dennis Kucinich is, he's an Ohio politician. He was a mayor and in Congress. I think he might have done something before mayor, but I'm not positive. He did run for office again recently, but the Democratic machine did align against him. So to be fair, It is. It is like that when it comes to dealing with him. Okay, now look. I don't look. Jimmy Dore's just a total joke to me. This is the guy that slandered Fred Hampton and the Young Patriots so he could excuse himself for working with the right wing. That's what he did. That's what he did. Fred Hampton is socialist. Young Patriots, socialists, anti-capitalist, anti-racist. He said, "Oh well, they were actually racist, and so I guess I can work with racists." Blah, blah, blah. It's a bunch of baloney. It's a mound of malarkey. It's a bucket of BS. If Jimmy Dore's political platform, if his political program is the prize at the end of the race, you better be running backwards. You gotta run backwards. Look, I'm gonna leave it at that. It's like beating a dead horse to me. you know, after giving him too much ivermectin, you get the freaking picture, guys. I'm leaving it at that. You know what's up.